Sleep is my greatest struggle. My sleep is totally jacked. After 25 years of being on call, I basically don't fall asleep fully, and it's really difficult for me to get a solid night's sleep. And my plan was to wait until I retired to deal with all this, but I've realized that this is my only real risk from a health span and lifespan standpoint. As a result of being on the social platforms and listening to a lot of sleep experts, which I am not, and doing a lot of reading, I realized that this is going to be something that I need to deal with now. And over the last month to 6 weeks, I have been absolutely committed to the critical pillars of creating a sleep hygiene program. That's really what this video is going to be about, is giving you an opportunity to see what worked for me when I followed all that and what happened when I fell off. Now, obviously I need some way to track all of this, and I personally reached out to 8 Sleep, and they are the sponsors of today's video, which we are incredibly fortunate to have them on board because their technology offers both of these things. It offers real-time data on how I'm doing, as well as the technology to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. We're going to utilize that so that you can see, based on the real-time data, how I'm doing, and I can really give you some insight, and myself some insight, as to where I'm successful and where I'm not. First pillar for a solid sleep hygiene program is sunlight, getting outside. Specifically early morning low angle sunlight, because that specific frequency activates your brain to wake up. It activates cortisol, which is the wake up hormone in your body. And in addition, it kicks off serotonin and dopamine, which are your feel-good hormones as well. So simply by getting outside and getting sunlight into your eyes, whether it's going for a walk, taking your dog for a walk, sitting on your porch and drinking your coffee, it's amazing what something so simple can do, because it actually resets your circadian rhythm in the morning. It kind of kickstarts you to get into the awake cycle so that your body knows that it's time to get up. Next pillar, sleep pressure. And this one just makes so much sense, right? Like, you got to be awake and doing things and be tired when you're ready to go to sleep. Like, you know, I remember taking vacations with my kids when they were really little, and we'd go to the beach and we'd run them all day long, and they'd be like asleep at the table in the restaurant in their spaghetti. That's sleep pressure, like full-on sleep pressure. How does that work? Well, adenosine is one of the neurotransmitters that's really critical for all of this. And as soon as you wake up, adenosine levels begin to rise, and when they get to a high enough level, it helps you fall asleep, so that when you finally do get in bed in the middle of the night, at the end of the day, that you fall asleep quickly, you know, that you're not laying in bed for hours trying to fall asleep. If you take a nap in the afternoon, you have to be careful, because that will decrease your adenosine levels and decrease your overall sleep pressure. So you want to do things during the day. You want to get out, you want to move, or outside going for a walk, taking the dog out right now, do some sort of resistance training. Make sure that you're active during the day so that you're maximizing your sleep pressure, so that when it's time to actually go to sleep, your body is ready. The next pillar is sleep consistency. And what do I mean by that? That's going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. And this is something that I'm actually reasonably good at and very consistent with. My issue is, having been on call for so many years and being accustomed to having my sleep interrupted, it doesn't take much to wake me up in the middle of the night. Small change in environment, a noise, anything, and I'm awake. But a lot of people struggle with sleep consistency. You know, it's not unusual. I heard this great quote the other day that it's probably as important to set an alarm when to go to sleep at the same time as it is to set an alarm when you wake up, and that may be something that's helpful for you. And 8 Sleep does a great job with basically tracking your sleep consistency. You don't even have to activate the app. You just get into bed and it knows when you fall asleep, which is crazy, and it knows when you wake up, which is crazy. And and like I said, I'm really good about my sleep consistency, except for recently when I took a trip, and I'm looking at my data now from the app where I had a sleep routine of 36%, because we didn't get home till 2 a.m., went to bed at 2:40, and woke up at 6:42, and I just noticed, obviously, how bad I felt as a result of getting outside of that sleep routine. So I really feel like it's one of the critical foundational pillars to a quality sleep hygiene program. So the next pillar is sleep environment, and this is really crucial, and it's something that you've got a fair amount of control over. Number one, we've got blackout shades here to keep a dark room. A lot of people like a sound machine. We use an air purifier. It kind of keeps the particulate matter and mold out of the room, gives a little bit of a background hub, but temperature change is crucial to fall asleep. You have to have a drop in your temperature to fall asleep, some steady temperature to stay asleep, and then you have to be able to warm up to wake up. And there's a lot of ways to do that. You can crank your AC down. When we're out in the country in the wintertime, we used to open our windows. You can take a hot shower and then let your body cool down. Super relaxing. None of that stuff really worked for me. I did all of it. And so our sponsor today is 8 Sleep, and we placed 8 Sleep on our king size bed right here. This can go on any size mattress, but we put it on a king size bed. We've got the hub over here, and this is where the water goes, and it runs through the 8 Sleep on whatever size mattress you need. And you can see, you can't even see that it's on the bed. And you can then set the temperature that you want to fall asleep, and the autopilot will actually figure out over time what you need to stay asleep and then warm you up accordingly about 30 minutes at your set time that you like to wake up. The bed vibrates a little bit and you wake up without an alarm. It's been incredible. In addition, there's a base on the bed. I snore, and this base will actually respond, and the base will raise the back of your bed as it senses that you snore until you stop. And then over the course of the evening, it will lower you back down. It did it last night. I didn't even realize that my head was being elevated. If you're interested in trying 8 Sleep, go to 8sleep.com/London for up to a $350 discount off your purchase. And they offer a 30-night sleep trial. So if you are not totally satisfied or if you don't like it, they will give you a full refund. And I would be shocked if that was the case. I can't sleep without this. I really kind of get anxious when I leave town, because anytime I don't have my 8 Sleep, I wonder how I'm going to fall asleep and stay asleep, and this has been transformative for me. The final pillar, and this was something that I read probably 6 or 8 months ago, it's the 3-2-1 rule. No eating 3 hours before sleep, 2 hours, put away your work, decrease your stressors, and my nemesis, stay off your phone an hour before bedtime. I put my books on my phone, it's backlit, it's easier for me to read if my wife's asleep. But this is how you create a runway to a successful night's sleep. And it's really important, and it's worked really well for me. And look, I can't tell you that I've totally revamped my sleep in 6 weeks, but I have made dramatic headway, and I lean heavily on the 8 Sleep app to help me quantify all this. You know, am I staying on my sleep schedule? What quality sleep am I getting? What are my metrics? How am I doing? And look, you may have an 8 Sleep, you may have a wearable, you may just listen to your body. It doesn't really matter. You just need to quantify how you're doing so you know where you are and where you're going to go. And look, you may have other pillars that are important for you, and please share those pillars in the comments below. Share your suggestions. Those will probably help me and lots of other people, because in the end, sleep is critical. The studies and the data, it's undeniable. It affects our hormonal system, it affects our immune system, it affects our metabolic system and weight control, it affects mood and cognition. That's when our brains actually clear waste products in your deep sleep. And look, it's my one risk factor that I've really struggled with for a long time, and I'm not willing to put it off any longer. I hope you prioritize your sleep just as I'm doing for myself, because that ultimately is going to have a dramatic impact on your health span and your lifespan.